Trisky.
Welcome right in the nick of time. Hi, welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. You're here with Mike and Savs, back with the OG today for your Sunday wrap up. Pretty hectic round, full of injuries, lots of carnage, and we are on the eve of Magic Round. Pumped and excited for that one. Jake out today. Obviously, I was out last week, so it's just a straight swap. And Sabs, ranked 22, I believe, or 21. Correct me if I'm wrong.
22, yep.
I was right. And with an 11:31, I know for both of us, very almost identical score, was a pretty underwhelming captain. We both got on drink. He brought him in and captained him. But I still think 1100's roughly around par. How was your week? Highs and lows. How'd you go?
Yeah, pretty good, eh? I got 11:31, and a lot of people were going on about my Kiwi accent earlier in the week. Yeah, 11:31. It's funny, Timmy got 11:31 as well, so we've all kind of got around the same score. And yeah, I'm actually looking around where I am, and I think I see green arrows, to be honest.
Yeah, myself, I'm leading 10 out of 14 leagues, and I guess at this point where I don't think I can win it overall, I just want to be, winning those head-to-head. So was a pretty hectic day today. Obviously, we'll go through all the games and all that kind of stuff as well. But I guess the thing for us to start is the injuries. A lot of us have burned for a lot of trades, and we're looking to save. And basically, it's finding it like, how can we save with all these injuries going down? So obviously the obvious ones, hamstring carnage. Tom's back with hamstring injury. He's sidelined for quite a while. Nathan Kerr comes back. He's gone for 8 weeks. Devastating as a Penrith supporter, but also just devastating for the ones that didn't jump back in. Luckily, Sabs, you've been pretty spot on this year, and you didn't bring him back in. Where I know the old Sabs would always bring back Cleary in his first week. So, yeah, huge that you've dodged that bullet, right?
Well, the thing is, I would have gone SJ to Cleary, and now I haven't done that, and SJ is probably out anyway. So either decision would have screwed me hard. So, yeah, all the injuries. I feel like if you haven't saved trades by now, you're going to be behind on saving trades, because I think we've got to use them over the next couple of weeks. Even though last podcast, me and Timmy just went on about we've got to save them in the next couple of weeks. But after the weekend just gone, there's a lot to dissect.
Yeah, I think the key is trying to save as much as you can. Like, if your numbers are good for buy round and you're sitting at 13 or 14, I wouldn't trade to try and get 15 to do that. I'd save around that buy round. If you can not utilize those 3 trades for those first couple of weeks, I think it's smart. Target like the Roosters, Bulldogs who go, the first 2 buys. Try and pick up someone that's going to help you for that, first 4 rather than just the first couple. So I think that's going to be the key strat. But also, I know people like Falungo, he might not be a slam dunk this week. Maybe, just get rid of your Cleary, hold off on someone like that. Like, take some risks. Like, I didn't pick up Armstrong last week. He did pretty decently, but I'm just like, I'll go the point system and then like try and save down the track. But I guess before we start wrapping up, Savs, early trade thoughts?
Well, I think obviously SJ and Turbo need to go out, but I think I'm going to hold SJ until Dylan Brown gets his duel, and then I'll shift Dylan Brown up to halfback, and then I'll shift Strange to 5'8", and then I'll get a center wing in for when the bye period hits, because I think during that period, having that duel and playing either Strange or Galvin is going to be good enough. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not sure who I'm going to go Tommy to. I think I'm going to go Tommy to a center wing, which is not usually what I do, but it feels like all the fullbacks are down and all the halfbacks are down. So I'm not keen on getting a gun fullback or a gun halfback. I think we've got to load up on these center wings that have high upside, but at the same time, it's like, do you get a Teddy who might miss Origin? Do you get an Edwards? You might need to have one of these guys over the bye period. So maybe you just hold off on that trade until we find out the Origin sides.
Yeah, it's a fair point because with all these injury carnages creating opportunities for other players to get picked. So if you're desperate on the numbers, it's a bit hard. I know myself, I'm balancing with that. I am going to trade in a halfback. I'll do that, and that I plan on that being my only trade. But I will be tempted on a second trade of finally getting rid of Tua Picky, and that could be the Falungo, or I jump in Armstrong. He'll probably make 110K this week. But if I kind of like their draw, although they go straight to a bye the week after, that could be a straight swap. But I think on the trade saving, I'm just going to keep Tua Picky for now, wait for another opportunity to get rid of him. And I really like Matt Burton. It's either Matt Burton or Sam Walker. I already have 3 Roosters, so it makes me want to take the risk with Burton. I'm just scared that he could end up with the utility, the 18th man, or coming to the halves if Hines isn't back where he's meant to, and they don't think it's serious. But I'm hoping they just pick Moses and Hines. But there's a world where Burton doesn't get picked. But I guess either way, I'm really liking Burton. But anyways, we can get into that with the Dogs wrap up. I didn't get to watch much of the Saturday game, Sav, so I'll wrap up the Thursday, Friday, and then
So what I did on the Saturday, I actually I was death riding Lomax hard, so I went to the gym and like avoided that game at all costs because that was the one game I was scared of all weekend. But I kept tuning in on the radio, just listening to it to see how it was going, and it was shit scaring me. But I went back and watched it, and 77 points was pretty good to get away with. But yeah, Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night, the Manly versus Dolphins. Dolphins upsetting, I guess the key point to note here is that the Dolphins play all 3 bye rounds. Of course, our bye talk is going to be increased because we are a couple weeks out from it. Manly do not cover the first bye. Try Fuller, gets one back for owners, 75. Look pretty awesome in this. Be interesting. It looks like Hammer's going to be back next week. So some people think he should stay there, but I highly doubt he does. We won't know till Tuesday. Lamelu, or however you pronounce that. He started on the weekend, scored a try. Yeah, I think I was pretty close. And yeah, 67, scored pretty well. Aiken with the 83, I should mention, top scored. Does he become an option, Savs?
Aiken, he really is. His break even was 39, so he makes a little bit of money. Goes up to above 600K. I think there's a lot of other guys at about that price who are going to be a lot better. So, Aiken, center wing as well, by coverage.
It's a pod and he covers 3 bye rounds. So, I wouldn't blame anyone from going that. But don't forget, he did score a try in this game. But the Dolphins are looking competitive in every game they play.
Yep.
Draymond Marshall-King, probably one to note with the 60, seems to be probably the best hooker for the bye rounds if you need one. Seems to be playing pretty solidly too. So, I really don't want to waste trades in the hookers. But Coruscant, I've had enough. I can definitely see myself looking to go a Coruscant to Marshall-King soon if I can afford it.
Yep.
Apart from that, Averillo keeps doing pretty decently. Probably the low light here is Azarko with 41. I'm pretty sure Herbie didn't play on his side. Herbie went to the other side.
He didn't. So Herbie played on the left, and a lot of us, Averillo played on the right. So that's very good for Azarko.
But obviously just wasn't able to put it on this game, which is a surprise with Dolphins scoring 30 points. But at the same time, hold your faith. I know it would sting this week choosing to go him over Dom Young, but it is what it is, and he is covering you a stack. Yeah, those 3 buys if he stays fit. Other than that, Max Plaff with one of his lowest scores in quite a while with 33. And apart from that, there's no really one I'm interested in at the Dolphins other than maybe those couple ones we mentioned. But yeah, over to the Seagulls. So the big one is Tom Trbojevic. He is out. I guess the ones that went him to Drinky at least he scored 76, which I guess is better than him scoring low and then getting injured. But at the same time, he'll be a huge sellout this week. And like you said, Sav, there's a crap ton of options if you got the jewels to get a center wing, or there are quite a few fullbacks. It just depends if you're worried about Origin or not. 76 for him. Is he ever going to get over this hamstring injury? It sucks.
I actually think he's been really good, and he was getting over it. It's just how it played out, I guess. Like the way he fell, it wasn't him his usual injury where he's running back from a kick return. It was kind of just like when he went for the dive. I know it's not really an excuse, but the way he did it this time was a lot less concerning than the way he used to do it, because it just used to pull out from underneath him. So it just sucks that he's done it again. Is he an option at any point this season anymore? I don't know. Cleary seems to come back from them pretty good, but yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to trust him, isn't it? Especially when he was looking very good and still wasn't kind of going ballistic.
Yeah, to be honest, if you faded Tom this whole time, like I did bring him in after the first 6, but yeah, if you faded him, you wouldn't be that unpleased, especially with the injury coming now. Like he's been pretty decent, but he hasn't been like crazy. Who would have thought that, the fullback we should have had was Edwards? Absolute crazy. But
94.
yeah, which we'll get to in the next game. But obviously the big winner from this will be Ruben Garrick, who had a very subpar game at 36. I know I'm jumping to the bottom here, but he will go into fullback where it's a lot friendlier for SuperCoach. And if you don't have him come that round 14, where then Manly do help you out with those next few buys, you're going to have him. Sav's pointing out to Tolotau Cooler there, 464K. 65.
Yep,
He looks pretty good and seems to be always someone that we have a look at to come into our sides. But at the same time, I never have like enough to go there. But that price isn't too bad. And with his score on the weekend, he's not going to increase too much.
I actually think he goes into fullback because
over Garrick.
He went into fullback on the weekend, and it just depends on how Saab comes back and how I actually think Saab's out for a couple of weeks. So interesting to see how they go there, because it'll really depend on who they want where and how they can cover other positions. But Cooler went back to fullback on Thursday night instead of Garrick. So
that's a good point to mention.
So I think Cooler gets it and plays the Broncos this week, but might be a buy round kind of guy. 460K, I don't know. It just feels like we don't have the luxury to get these guys in at the moment. Really?
No, not with the buy round coming up and there's options. I don't want to be grabbing in. I want to sort out these first two, bro, especially this first one. You want to start strong, and especially if you're up in a higher rank like you are, Savs, you know that you've got to put your energy into that, and I guess put your energy into players that aren't going to be around the Origin selection. Apart from that, DC with a very low 36. Burbo comes back with a 45, which isn't too bad for holders. Apart from this, I don't think there's anyone stepping out. I think it's important to note that obviously Ola comes back next week.
Yeah.
And they go up against the Broncos as their own home game in Magic Round. So tough matchup for them over there.
Yeah, it's good. Like there's a lot of injuries going about. Like I could probably even do like Tom to Olaquatu. No, I can't, but I'm sure a lot of people can. And I think Olaquatu is a pretty decent trade-in. He probably will play Origin, but it's also there's not much going around at the moment, is there?
I wouldn't trade him in pending Origin. I know we both jumped up in Savs, but I really wouldn't go there just for the fact that their 3-round draw is now tough. Maybe now you look at that Penrith game and you go, the Penrith game's not as tough because they don't have Cleary and they're down Brad Snyder. But at the same time, that draw is tough enough for me just to hold back and, reassess. But you're going to want him at some point. He was one of the best second rows of the comp before he gets suspended. That's for sure. Over to the Panthers and the Bulldogs. Very wet game first half. I was down in there. It was pissing down the whole time. Cleared up for the second one. We didn't see too many points in that one. But a few SuperCoach perspectives to dissect. Luke Garner, man, I shat on him. He's been one of the better players in our side for the past 2 weeks, and he turns out another big score. I don't know if he can go there because obviously he's just covering for Scotty Sorensen, who actually in the medical update for the Panthers, they reckon that he's traveling a little bit ahead of time and could possibly be back next week. So, unless, they just chuck him into the forward rotation, ease him back and keep Garner starting second row. I think there's a world where that could happen because I think that could really strengthen up Penrith because when Fish and Moses are off the field, they really lack it. So I think that could be a shout. But 468K, you had a break even of -2. Have you missed a boat on someone like him? if he, it's a tough one. They do cover that first bye round, but that seems like too risky play, right? With all these injuries, Savs.
Yeah, it really does. 200s in a row. It could be a cash grab if Sorensen isn't named. Like, they're playing the Warriors this week in Magic Round. The Warriors are absolutely decimated too, and their defense looks shit. Maybe the Roosters just look really good. So, yeah, I guess that's something to watch out for at team list. But as I said before, I don't think we have the luxury to have all these luxury trades. Like, personally, I've got to get Fini Fuaki out of my side. He's just shit me to tears. And like, we've got these Galvins, these Hugheses, these Liam Henrys who we need to get out eventually. We're going to be stuck with them if we don't start upgrading elsewhere. Like, you've got Chan, you've got all these other guys. I think these luxury trades, you've really got to think about it when you get them in at this point of year, because it seems like it doesn't matter. We can go through the buys and trade them out later, but we're going to be stuck with some of these guys.
Yeah, you're right. It's a headache with Fini Fuaki, but we'll talk about that when we get to that team. I guess the important thing to note, before I talk about the other ones at the top, is Nathan Cleary re-injured that hamstring. It might sound like a broken record, but that is huge news, and it's huge news moving forward for the Panthers, because you've got to think of it from a SuperCoach point of view. Might suck for people that jumped on Tago and all these other things, because Brad Snyder, it was such a dog shot in the New South Wales Cup that if you haven't seen the tackle, ridiculous. He's injured his knee, and they're expecting him to miss a couple of weeks. He obviously has to go for scans. But that makes me a little bit nervous and worried, because I just believe Jack Cole's not 100% ready yet. And we didn't score a single point with him out on the field the second 40. So how does the Panthers attack look? I guess it's good for Edwards owners, because he keeps he gets to keep kicking goals and seems to be more reliant on the attack. But it'll be interesting to see if they do that, if they get Dane Laurie.
I haven't even changed, sorry.
Do they have the balls? Do they have the balls to shift Dylan Edwards to 5'8" and put Dane Laurie into fullback, or even bring out the Reggie's fullback, because he's Isaiah Longy is a gun? I don't think they'll do that, but I don't think they'll do that, because Edwards is the best one. They're not going to do that, but hey, probably 1% chance. But yeah, it's probably between Laurie or Cole. But my point here is that looking at purchasing some of these ones, it's I don't really like any of them. I'm a Penrith supporter. I guess the only guy I like is Edwards, because I believe he's going to stay an option. Like, I know the Origin might scare you, but I really don't think they're going to pick him. To you, Savs?
Yeah, I actually think they are going to pick him. I think because Madge is coming in, I've said this a couple of times actually, that it's the right time to, if you're going to move on from him. If you pick him now, you pick him for the next 2 years until he retires, realistically. But then, yeah, I just feel like fresh slate. Just go with Edwards. I don't know. That's just what I feel. I feel like Edwards, just a lot of plays he's done. Like, he made a few cover tackles in this game, which he's been doing it all year. Like, he's been the last guy in the defense, and he's got the player down. So I actually think he's going to get picked. So, yeah, I'm very hesitant to get him in. But at the same time, I'm very hesitant to get someone like Tedesco in as well. So it's it's an awkward time of year. But, yeah, I love Isaiah Yeo as well.
Yeah, 100%. Or Captain Harry there, Peachy to 5'8", boys. I can see it maybe. That's something I haven't considered, but it depends how he's been going in Reggie's, because he's been nowhere near that top side. So I don't hate that at all. I think they just need to carry a 40. But anyways, enough about the footy talk there. Let's continue on with the SuperCoach. Brian To'o, I was really keen on him a couple of weeks back. The Origin put me off. He keeps continuing to perform well. 86 in this game. Isaiah Yeo, Mr. Safety, especially after Origin, like, he's pretty safe as houses to jag in your second row. Edwards, we just spoke about him, 75. He downdated. But his scores this year are absolutely ridiculous. Like, I can't believe it. We all thought that, we've seen the best of Edwards, and he's found a passing game, and it is translating massively to SuperCoaching. Those goals are helping. Or even on the weekend, they didn't kick many goals. So
look at that. Like, besides 2 rounds, his lowest, besides round 1 and round 3, his lowest score is
the 70 that he scored this weekend.
75 on the weekend, yeah.
It's ridiculous. And Panthers draw isn't too bad. Like, they go Warriors, Warriors, Sharks, Dragons, and Manly. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So it's not too bad. I think the Sharks is a bad one at Shark Park. But yeah, apart from that, I guess there's no really other Panthers to look at. I guess if Snyder was coming in for Cleary and he didn't get injured, then I'd say he's a massive option because he's got 8 weeks and he's already starting to generate a bit of cash. So if for some reason he's going to line up this week and that injury isn't as bad as it looks, then that's a different story. But yeah, I guess you'll be analysing that on the TLT pod if that happens. Yep,
for sure. Looks like he's injured though.
You want to bring up Jerome Luai? You don't, do you?
Oh, I mean, 430K, 49. Like he's been setting up tries every game. He hasn't scored. I've put money on him the last 2 weeks to score any time, and he hasn't hit. He hasn't looked like hitting, to be honest. But I think I'll do it again next week at Magic Round.
Yeah, I hate that. I wouldn't go near Luai. I know he's cheap. But let's jump over the other side of the field. I'm going to start off with Matt Burton. Let's stick with the halves. Scored a try on the weekend, 80. Now, roll up his score, Savs, because how this guy's been flying under the radar. Pretty sure he's only owned by 7%. And look at those scores. So let's write off 1 to 3. The Dogs started to perform from about round 5. 147, 79, 80, 73, and 80 on the weekend. And he's doing that against some tougher opponents. They play the Raiders first this week. Then they go Dragons, Knights, Para. So they cover you around 14. They get the bye in round 15, but they hit the Roosters in bye time. So to me, he's got the best heart. I'm going to be going him this week. I'm pretty keen on him. Even with the origin risk, I've got 14 plays. If you need numbers for the bye, I'd hit Sam Walker over him. But to me, like, I'm not going to be really gaining much cash for the trade, maybe just 40K. But I really like he's a goal kicking half. The Dogs look pretty good. They were pretty level pegged with Penrith. I know they left out with Cleary, but the main thing, and like Bulldogs fans been pretty happy. They've been competitive. What do you think about Birdo, Savs?
Yeah, I like it. I've obviously I've kept an eye on him. Obviously, since that 147, he's pricked a lot of interest, and just the way he's looked, like he doesn't look like a guy who he's got 1 or 2 big plays a game, but he looks like he's very likely every game. So to score 80 against Penrith, I know it's his old side, so usually people just step up just that little bit extra, but he's doing it against the good sides. I feel like against the bad sides, he's got that ceiling as well. He's got the goal kicking. He probably is the best option, to be honest. It's just annoying because, like, if you're selling Johnson or you're selling Nathan Cleary, you don't actually make that much money from it. And I feel like this is an opportunity to downgrade, to upgrade elsewhere. But at the same time, like, he's a pure buy period guy. But I also am scared of Origin because the halves depth in our Origin is ridiculous, and there's a good chance he gets picked to 5'8", to be honest.
If he plays 2 good games against those tough opponents, he could probably jag him. But if he has 2 good games and bumps you scores above 80 plus both those weeks, I like it. And to be honest, if I bring him in, he's a sneaky VC play for our first game of Magic Round. So I can see myself doing it as I'm willing to risk for buy rounds as I like my numbers. But at the same time, I was really put off by him at his price. But now that Cleary's gone down, I don't mind doing it for basically a straight swap because I can afford it. And realistically, I know you want to build up money to do others, but realistically, I only want to be doing forced trades. I really need to save trades. I need to just deal with it. Let's move on. Jacob Carraz paid dividends for owners who jumped on last week. Very happy as an owner. He killed it in this game. He got that drug try in that last minute that really shot him up, but didn't need it. He got 2 early line breaks. Like, it still was going to be a decent score.
He looked gone too. Like, there was an ankle injury.
I was like,
he looked gone.
Yeah, 100%. Then he comes back and plays the way he did. Like, he's just got such a high work rate. They covered 2 bye rounds. I know they've still got their bye to come up. They already have had one, though. So, to be honest, I like that draw. We just mentioned that draw. And, you were mentioning earlier in the podcast, Sabs, about high ceiling center wings. And this guy with a try is going to push you above 80 plus. And a winger that can do that, I love it. And the Dogs are on the up. They're looking good. And, I really like that Canberra matchup this week.
Yeah, Yeah, it's actually a very good matchup on the weekend, and it looks like he is going to stay on the wing. So obviously more tries. The stat here: 37 points in hit ups over 8 meters, and hit ups under 8 meters. 30 points in line breaks. That's pretty good. 14 points in
tackle bus.
So that's already right there. That's 51 points. And then you've also got tackles, 54. And then he's got that try and everything. So he is someone I was very keen on a couple of weeks ago. And I'm kind of shitty I didn't get him in because he's going to be 700K next week. So Tommy de Carraz could be one, especially with their draw. Like, get a piece of the pie in every single game for Magic Round. The Magic Round trade-ins is going to be so different because I feel like we're going to do – a lot of people are going to do trades around that.
Yeah, I've considered doing it myself, but I go, no, don't get sucked in for the Magic Round. Just maybe utilize the power of Magic Round for your captain choices. And obviously, I think that is dream. If you can have a player playing in each game, especially if you're going there to watch it, I think, of course, that'd be amazing. But apart from that, Reed Marnie, 57. All the other kind of dogs did pretty average. Connor Tracy, he looks so good in the actual NRL. And I guess at the same time too, Josh Curran, Kickow, they've been pretty average with on the weekend with the 44 and 41. And Hughes with 39, we can make do with that for owners. And Bronson Sherry, for, made a bit of cash. But I guess you don't really want to... Yeah, you don't want to be offloading any Bulldogs with a buy. I guess the important one, which I knew you were going to bring up, is his break-even's not huge yet, but it's going to come down. He's obviously coming back from that jaw issue, which is probably why they're easing him back in with minutes. If he gets back to that 80-minute second row roll and we can get him low 500s, he could be a really nice bring-in for the buy round.
Yeah, so obviously talking about Jacob Preston for those who are listening on the audio, but 64 break-even, he got 24 points on the weekend, so loses about 32K, goes down to 580, a bit more than 580, but it sucks he was on the bench last week and didn't play at all because if he played 1 minute, we'd be looking at him very seriously in like next week. But I think, if he's back to 80 minutes next week, we'll be looking at him the week after, potentially.
Yeah, 100%. Agree with you there. Para Broncos, I'll do this one and then Savs, you get the next three.
Yeah, sure.
Dylan Brown, you mentioned it before. He will get his duel in round 12, which is handy. I don't own him. I don't plan on grabbing him. Obviously, I need an option for next week, so I'll need to grab one. But he played well on the weekend. Like Parramatta, they keep losing these games, but on the game on the weekend, they showed glimpses of hope, and they were definitely in this ball game at the start, and then obviously got broken out by the Broncos and the usual Ezra Mam and Reece Walsh. But apart from that, Blaze Talangi, I know you don't own him anymore, Savs. I know a lot of people jumped up, but how good. How good. I held on for the pure fact that I couldn't afford to trade him. And secondly, just by hoping that he'd jag his way back into side. And I think with the way he played, he's going to stay in that fullback role at least. I think, and he's just re-signed with the club on top of that.
He hasn't. He's actually...
he hasn't?
So he had a player option.
They offered him something, didn't they?
Yeah, and he didn't take it. So he's on the open market. So he'll probably be leaving. But Gutho's out for 4 to 5 weeks.
So, yeah, he'll get your coverage for that first buy round. And obviously, people will look at him next week because break-even of 43. He's beat his break-even for about 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think...
Yeah, he's still a buy. He'll have a negative break-even. Only goes to 320, 330. And then, what's his break-even here? 43. What was his last game? He might even have 12 points, so he might even have a little bit of a higher break even than someone usually at that price getting 90 points will get. But still very low, and probably the week to get him is next week. But at the same time, plays Melbourne,
but it'll be a Melbourne without Jerome Hughes, and the Melbourne without Jerome Hughes, or they look like they're beatable. And the Eels are building to a game. Eels love an upset against the Storm. I do think that Talangi could be a smoky play. If you want to get a piece of that action, you wouldn't have played him against the Broncos and he killed it. Sorry, Savs, you wanted to go to Ethan Sanders?
Oh, no, I was just looking.
Yeah, all good. Keeping on down the list. Hopgood with 62 keeps doing hop good things. Will he make Origin? We do not know. Apart from that, I'm not going to really bring up. I want to try and speed it up a little bit. I'm not going to really bring up anyone else. I don't think anyone else on the radar, or the Eels play the first bye. Over the Broncos, Reece Walsh doing Reece Walsh things. Look, Reece Walsh kicking goals. He just has such a high average. 93 from him, and he's the kind of guy you want to own for Magic Round. Like, doing Magic Round without Reece Walsh is a scary prospect, and he's another one I want to have something on for Magic Round for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I have the balls to captain him, but I'll reassess next week, do some Magic Round prep.
Yeah, please, Manly. I think I actually like. He's someone I can buy. Like, he's a gun full who is available. I know he plays Origin, but I don't know. Is it worth having a gun fullback rather than like going to a Joey Manu or something? Who,
if your numbers are good, you could.
Yeah, I guess.
Break even at 81. So realistically, with that 93, he's going to hold his price at 675. Like, that's not breaking the bank or anything. That's a cheap price, so we know what his output can be. But yeah, it's scary bringing someone to Origin. Do they get rested after Origin? And someone like Joey Manu is not showing any sense of slowing down. I think he's been one of our stretches. And the thing is, with Joey Manu, he's going to cover 2 bye rounds. I know. He's 8-14, break of 79.
So the thing is with Walsh, from Tommy, you make 100K from going from Tommy to Walsh. So it's probably a smarter move to do that rather than go Manu straight away, because we saw how the Sharks played on the weekend. Like, buying him this week probably doesn't make sense because he already is at a decent price. But yeah, something to think about. I think that's probably my best trade-in option at the moment. It allows me to upgrade elsewhere and strengthen like Fini Fuiaki to someone. So I love that.
Yeah, if you're a head-to-head player and not too worried about the buy round, Payne Haas is killing it. Well, not killing it, but for a front row position, 74, I think that's a pretty solid score.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. Apart from that, Mariner looked really good on the weekend for 74. Cobbo keeps giving a sniff, but obviously, these guys are going to get selected in Origin. Apart from that, I guess maybe a low light. I know a lot of people jumped on Pierre Cora for his 20. Man, he's going to come to a juicy price for considering, but like, how can you bring in someone after, playing the Eels? They win 30-14 and he scores 20 points. How can you have the courage to bring in someone like that?
You can't until you see something. He didn't play 80 minutes on the weekend. He played 55 on return. Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong score. Sorry. He played 75 on return last week and then 68 the week before. He didn't play 80 on the weekend once again. So
20.
Yeah, 20. It's just not needed at this time of year. Like, if he could be guaranteed 80 minutes, I'd love it. Maybe Josh Rogers is one. 42 points. Thoughts?
5-8. Yeah, potentially. Because job security is all right. They don't play that first buy round, but it's a tough one, especially if you got Galvin, you can have Galvin and Rogers. I don't like that.
Line break assist, 4 points in hit up. So I would have liked more runs there. 26 points in tackles, forced dropout, and 2 points in tackle bust. 8 in missed tackles, -8 in missed tackles. So there was a bit to be desired there. But yeah, obviously you just wait another week, see how you go, because there is Adam Reynolds is set to, he's out for a while, but Jock Madden is usually their replacement. So I guess suss out that situation, and if he gets the spot there, it's interesting. But yeah, anything else?
Now let's move on to Knights Tigers. You start us off with the Tigers. I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah, all right. So we got the Knights versus the Tigers. Isaiah Papali'i, top scores for the Tigers, 121 points. I had a lot of questions on the weekend about Isaiah Papali'i, and a lot of people, particularly one person in our premium group, Patrick, I'm pretty sure, he was asking, do I sell him? He looks like a barman. And I was watching him last week, and I just thought he looked large and slow. And I didn't like him. He moved into the middle, so obviously the base stats were going to be up, but I thought the attacking stats weren't going to be there. Funny thing is, there was an injury to their center, Stafford Toa, so one of their second rows went to the edge, and he went onto the edge to cover the edge. So he got the attacking stats that he really needs to be an elite second rower. And like, look at his score: 60 minutes, 25 points against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are just a scrappy team to play. But apart from that, like, his scores aren't terrible. Like, before that, he was averaging 61.5 points. I think just going off one game last week is what I was going off, and that was his worst game by far. But yeah,
Fini Fuiaki to him could be a good trade if you got your numbers all right.
Yeah, well, I haven't actually looked at him all season until last week when someone asked about him prior to the Bulldogs game. And I watched him and I was like, he looks shit. So I was like, straight away, I was completely off him. But then, 121 points, 2 tries. I mean, he's not hurting you not having him. So I think we can wait and see another week or two. I don't think he's an upside player. Last year, he didn't do that well either. So this is just once in a blue moon type of performance.
I think if he played the bye round, then I would be interested at that price.
Yep.
But he doesn't.
I agree. Brent Naden had a shocker, but 53 points. Stefano, I thought with all their forward injuries very early, like Stafford Toa went off quite early. Bateman went off pretty early. I thought he would have got inflated minutes and scored a lot more than that. So I know 84th Rugby League realm, Alex, he actually jumped on him. And I've been scared of Utakamano every week just because of that. And he hasn't quite come out. He started really hot, though. But from the Tigers, not much else doing here. Obviously, Galvin, 54 points. He's served us well. There's Sullivan with 94 points. With Caesar to come back in 3 weeks, I don't think he's an option. Maybe a short-term play, potentially, because he is kicking goals. But Api Coruscant, 36 points. You mentioned you have him. He loses about 60K. So now he goes down to 490. He's in the price range of me potentially doing a Danny Levi switch to him, which I would have not expected at the start of the season. But it seems like that that injury is concerning him a little bit. We have 187 viewers at the moment. Shout out to everyone watching.
Yeah, that's big for us Sunday. Over to Coruscant. It's a tough one because coming to that price now, like, what am I going to do with him? Like, it's just like persist, hope he doesn't get pick in Origin, and then he becomes coverage for the next buys because Tigers they don't cover the first one, but they cover like nearly all the 14, I think 17, 20. Like, their coverage is pretty decent. So I think I'm just going to hold on. And what a terrible trade that turned out to be. He sucked us in with a goal kicking, and now he just dropped us on our face. It sucks. Both my hookers are scoring 30 and 40 points each week. So, but what can you do? You can't fix everything because, you got to choose your trades and make it up elsewhere. And yeah, goes like someone else agreeing with you, Sav.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just randomly putting up comments. But yeah, that's it for the Tigers, I guess. One thing to note, I am a Fata Ape owner, which realistically, like selling Blaze Talangi over Fata Ape the other week, not a good move. But we persist. Hopefully with the Toa injury, he went off with, pretty sure it was a hamstring I was watching, but obviously forgot what it was. But he looks like he's out for a little bit of a period at least. So hopefully we get Fata Ape back. And Naden having a shocker, maybe he gets dropped. And I've been watching some New South Wales Cup, and Fata Ape has been doing all right. Bradman Best, top scores, obviously Origin around the corner. Tommy being injured, he's putting his hand up and he's doing it very nicely. He was getting at the price where he went down to about 500K. He was getting at the price where you kind of start looking at him, but without Ponga, it's obviously a bit scary. As well as Marju. Marju will make 16,000 and be 516,000 next week with a very small break even. He has
288K down on his starting price. That's retarded. Yeah.
He has a draw of the Gold Coast Titans, the Bulldogs in round 13. He does have a bye in round 12, which is very annoying. Then Melbourne, Penrith, Parramatta, Canberra. The bye coverage is not so good because they don't play round 16. They do play round 13, but they got to buy in round 12. So it's kind of much of a muchness. Don't hate him. He had a lot of points in tackle breaks on the weekend, and it was very good to watch. In particular, 16 points in tackle. I thought he got a lot more than that, to be honest, because I was just watching and he was tackle busting everything. 28 points in hit-ups, but that's what you want to see from him, right?
Yeah, with that pedigree and that price, I can understand why someone would be jumping on. I just don't know with the other problems with my team if I can make it happen. But, they play the Titans this week. Titans don't look as much of a pushover. Like they look like they're on the up, but still decent matchup. And then, the round 13 coverage, I think he's at a good price to take a risk if you are fine with the round 12.
For sure. We have a comment here from Barnes, Mark Barnes. There is no hooker I want. Well, hit us up at Magic Round and we'll show you around to some hookers you might want. There is also another comment here from Tour Pro. His KPP minutes are worry. So came on at the 45th minute mark, and he's the next person I'm bringing up. 41 points. Like, I think it's a bit awkward because he's going to lose another 32K. Goes down to 560, which is pretty good value. But, that's pretty good value for someone who's coming off the bench. If he is named off the bench, what are you doing with him?
I don't have all these tricks. I can't fix everyone up. It's like if I have both of him, it's going to be hard having him and Finifuiaki. I might have to make a second row trade, but I think I'd prefer to give Kai Pearce-Paul over Finifuiaki because Kai Pearce-Paul's base is better, and hopefully he goes back to an 8-minute role. I don't know if he is. Like the fact they got that round 13 bye, I don't want to lose both those guys. I've got to keep one of them. And the Knights seem to be playing a bit better, but man, there's just so many headaches I don't want to deal with. Obviously, he's going to be a lot easier to flip to another second role, but the position's a headache at the minute.
The question is I guess we'll get to Finifuiaki, but Finifuiaki is definitely going to play round 13 because of Nanai missing for Origin. He will play a starting role, but you could lose another 100K between now and then. Kai Pearce-Paul, we don't know when he's going to start next if he keeps up this role. So I really think it's a Team List Tuesday thing that we can't really set our sights on right now. I didn't play KPP. I think it was a smart move. Instead, I got him as an A for Nico. Yeah, that Nico news screwed everyone, eh? Who do I bring in to replace Tommy? I guess we'll get to that very shortly. Not much else doing here. Brayley, 51 points. I think that's good for owners. A lot of people would have played because of all the injuries on the weekend, but we also didn't get the Hines news and the RTS news till late. So 51 points, pretty good. Armstrong, 68 points. You did say before he goes up to about, 67? Probably goes up to...
It's like 320, like...
Yeah, 320. No, he actually goes up less. He goes up to like 290 to 300. So I think that's still a very good price.
And his break-even won't be like really low next week. Yeah, like 27, right?
If you're choosing between him and Talangi, who are you going?
Talangi, probably Talangi just, especially with he's got 100 in there. So once that other one gets out, like he's gonna shoot up a bit more. But as I said, like I think I'm going to be forced into using a second trade. I could see myself going to a picky to Armstrong because his base is good. Well, not his base, more so like his job security is really good, and still 300K is not a bad price because I went Dom Young over Armstrong, so the way I did it was better. I don't regret that at all. It was the right move, so I didn't have a boost, obviously. So yeah, definitely considering Armstrong, but it's just like, is it worth using a trade or saving one? It's hard.
I think just with Tuapiki, he might get a game. Just thinking out loud, if RTS is out for a while, maybe Chance does go to center and shores up that defense there because they were picked apart today. And there's a player in particular who benefited massively, and we'll talk about that. But the Dragons Rabbitohs game, obviously Death Rider this game hard. Bad weather. A lot of Lomax owners would have put a lot of faith into him. I think with the Hines news, 84 points, a lot of people would consider looping, and I think it would have been the good move because a lot of people took AEs this week anyway. So Lomax 84, I'd definitely take.
Yeah, still priced pretty expensively. But I guess he's someone that just seems like he's going to be relevant all year, no matter on the Dragons' form. Is he going to get picked for Origin? Like, it's very hard to pick what matches because everyone goes, clean slate, new coach. But to be honest, I see a world where he doesn't pick. He picks very similar to what they would have picked if he wasn't coaching there. So, we haven't seen it yet. If they pick on form, they pick Lomax. But I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what the teams are. But with these guys, like, I think Lomax is definitely going to be a trading option. 118 break even, so lose about 35K. Goes to that's a pretty good price to get him in. Like, if you're choosing between Lomax and Karaz, I definitely like Lomax as a trade-in. Obviously, has the bye next week, so a lot of these guys we're talking about right now are pretty hard to look at. But yeah, Ben Hunt 59 points. He's been going all right. Little 45, not much doing. Eisenhuth 37 points doesn't get his regular 75 tackles. So, yeah, the train for Eisenhuth is slowly departing.
He's
For
made
the
a stack of
Rabbitohs,
cash.
yeah, for the Rabbitohs, Latrell Mitchell 70 points, doesn't lose much cash, 700K. I mean, he's someone that might miss Origin. Does he play around 13? He doesn't, but pretty good draw. Plays the Cowboys
And
next
they
week.
do play 16 and they do play 19. And we've been saying this, that there will be a time to jump on Bunny's plays. And I know come round 14, I couldn't see myself going Walsh to Latrell, especially if he misses that Origin arena. You're going to want him and he's at a juicy price. And look, he comes back into the side. They still get beaten by a fair margin and he still scores a decent score. That's a good score for Latrell. He's going to send around their attack no matter what.
The thing that does worry me is 2 tries and a try assist. That's a lot to get 70 points. And I know Walsh does it, but we can rely on Walsh to do that because he's just so electric and he wants his hands on the ball. But Latrell does want his hands on the ball in attacking situations, so you can rely on him to get them stats. But it is a bit worrying, and they were playing the Dragons. They do play the Cowboys next week. I don't know what Cowboys side shows up. I don't know what Rabbitohs.
They could upset him.
Yeah, they could. Cody Walker, 43 points. 516. He's at a very similar price. 516.
He's bottomed out.
I would have. Yeah, I'd love him at 450. I don't know about 516. Obviously the Cowboys, the Eels. He's starting to do things. So 66 and 51, and then another 43 on the weekend. Obviously before that, not
there's
much.
no 10s or 20s in his score. Like it's hard. You've got to jump on him that you're gonna think that the Bunnies are gonna start improving. Yeah. He could be another sneaky one to look at round 14. I know then you just rather keep Galvin, right? But with his credentials, it's so hard to every year Cody Walker bounces back. The difference this year is that the Bunnies coming last.
I also think no Alex Johnson. I want Alex Johnson back in the side before I consider him. Because
which is soon.
Yeah, it's very soon. Back to the Rabbitohs. There are a few players like Damien Cook. He's getting down in price. He will go down to 520-ish. He's not playing 80 minutes though, or is he? Did he play 80 minutes on the weekend? I haven't quite looked at him because we played 80 minutes last week, 44 points. He's not quite getting the points though. Like, I feel like with someone like Damien Cook, you really want their forwards to be doing well to be confident getting him in. So I don't think their forwards are doing well enough. Their forwards are just shot. Colin Matangi, 51 points, 543K.
He's another one that's tempting because every year Daniel's carrot, and every year so far it's proved that he does have a patch where he does really good, and that's why we're going to constantly look at him and Cody Walker, and he could be handy, especially he's probably going to miss Origin. They're going to be handy because they cover 16 and 19. So this is a team you're going to need to jump off your ones that only play the round 13 by.
Yeah, so hopefully they get some troops back and we can seriously look at these guys. Tallis Duncan, I really expected him to get a bit of a run. He scores 33 points, so he goes down a little bit of cash. But I think the minute he gets starting role, I really expected it sooner. He hasn't got it, but yeah. Moving on to the Melbourne Sharks game. This was an absolute cracker of a game. I loved watching this. This was probably, would you say this was a game of the weekend?
Oh, yeah.
His dogs was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it would be, especially the fact with the players that got ruled out, they're both missing their own halfbacks, and then immediately you don't think, and the standard was still great. Daniel Atkinson, oh my God. How good.
Atkinson, 64 points, negative 3 break even, so he goes up quite a bit of cash. but he's bottom dollar.
Halfback.
Fullback, halfback. So you could
Awkward.
go to Johnson to
Or
Atkinson.
Cleary. It's Cleary to Atkinson. Oh, look. Do we think that what's his job security like? So Trindle's going to come back off that charge. I know we're not sure when. Everyone's saying he keeps him out of his spot, but do you think he will?
His court date is May 27th, so he's got the spot till then. But from what I saw last night, I think Atkinson is a much better player for that team than Trindle is. Like Trindle, it seems like they worked really hard to make the Trindle-Hines combination work, and it wasn't 100% like the best thing for them, but they'll make it work. With Atkinson, I think he's like a more polished version of what Matt Moylan was. He's a version where he just stays in his pocket and he just does his job perfectly, runs the ball. But on the weekend, like he controlled that game so well. Like I think he can add just as much to that side as what Trindle can, but at the same time, he lets Nicho Hynes flourish. The problem is he scores with Nicho Hynes in the side, 31 and 44. So Nicho Hynes will be back next week and he won't has a dominant role. He did goal kick on the weekend, so he kicked 4 goals for only 64 points.
You couldn't do it. They do cover the bar around that. I think you could take the punt if you were centering, but you can't take the punt in those positions.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though we're lacking halfbacks, that is too risky. You've got to jump to a halfback where if they get injured or something happens, you've got the money there to switch off, especially as you run out of trades.
100% agree. We've also got for the Sharks. Sorry, I had Atkinson up. McInnes top scores. Danny, part of our premium group, he's an absolute legend. Danny, forget his last name. Danny Heath. Oh, I don't need to say his last name. Break even at 46. Danny was saying that we've seriously got to look at McInnes. He played 80 minutes on the weekend for 84 points, mainly base stats. I think he might have got a line break in there.
I reckon he gets picked for Origin. I have him in my Origin selection, and instead of getting picked, like if they don't pick 2 hookers, you can pick him to run a 4 forward and also become the backup hooker. I reckon he makes that Origin side.
I think I'll be shocked if he doesn't play Origin, but
he's got to play Origin. He's got to. But does he?
He's Magis type of guy. He's 39.
Good price if he doesn't.
We'll go to 650K. I think just because of the price, you want a bit more upside, but I think if he's playing their minutes, Finucane's just announced his retirement, so he'll get their minutes pretty consistently. Like the last few weeks, 56 minutes, 51, 47, 58, and 75, 46, 84, 65. Like they're really good numbers. I'd be stoked with them sort of numbers. So he's someone I'd be very keen on. Probably plays Origin though. Jesse Raymond, 74 points. Atkinson, 64. Mulatalo with some late junk for 63. Owners would be cheering. Hazelton, we've spoken about him a couple of times. He started at 350K.
He stays so low owned too, bro. It's ridiculous. Some of these players that you just miss out on. If you got on, you'd be feeling like a legend.
Well, he just scored so many tries. Like he scored in the last 4 weeks. 54 points, 69, 82, 77. All we tried.
Before that, look, round 2 is his last shit score.
Yeah,
and let's look at his minutes. Now his minutes have been up since then. That's crazy.
But like when everyone was probably looking at about round 4 here, like he only got 50 points, and like that's kind of boring to look at, I guess. And then
69 in 25 minutes.
scoring 4 tries, and then on the weekend he doesn't score a try, but he scores 62 points. Like Jesus Christ! If you started with him and Terrell May, that would have been like just the biggest masterstroke. Kale Iro, 48 points. I was pretty confident he'd have a breakout game. I think it is coming though. I think it will.
Bro, you play him each week. It's like I've got no interest in selling him anytime soon. He's going to be pretty safe. Like they cover 2 buy rounds, but you got to wait till the last one to get his second coverage. Just hold on. He's going to have that big breakout game, and I see him be easily a 500K plus player later, especially with how the Sharks are going.
For sure. The Sharks do have a tricky draw over the next 2 weeks, so a lot of these guys I'm probably not even looking at. But for the score, sorry.
I was just going to say that Panthers run now, like Panthers, yeah, they're just solid, but it's some of these things are getting a bit easier, and you know Hynes isn't out long term as far as we know, so that's also going to be a thing to note for a lot of these guys' scores.
For sure. Katoa top scores with 92 points. He's just chugging along nicely. He did a David Fafita type play on the weekend where he just went out a dummy half, and David Fafita did it again today. So it's good to see that he can go in and do that sort of play. I love seeing selfish plays from my players doing that. So 92 points. If you don't have him in your side, he's probably someone you probably want to target. 691K. Doesn't make much money. Doesn't go above 700 right there. But Tyron Wishart, 85 points, absolutely killing it. Pretty cheap price. Might be a bit of a guy over the origin period, but we'll have the spot for next couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's not a terrible option with him playing Parramatta. And then he has a pretty good matchup after that. I'll just grab it up. Plays Parramatta in Magic Round. Plays Manly in round 12. They don't play round 13, but it's a pretty good potential downgrade. He will go up to about 360. It's a good downgrade. Like Cleary.
Nah, you can't do it because he's going to go back to a utility role. He gets shipped and shaped everywhere, becomes too versatile, and then that's going to cost you another trade. Like, think about all the injuries. Everything's burning through trades. If you haven't, then maybe you can make some risky moves. But I don't like it. I'm telling you, that's my upset for Magic Round. Eels are going to beat the Storm.
Oh,
I've just got this feeling. Yeah, I think they can. Like that run doesn't look like the same. But the Eels are building. They're gonna win soon, and they love beating the Storm. Like no one's getting the home ground advantage. True. Upsets are real in Magic Round.
True. Sean Bloor, 51 points. Munster, 66 points, chugging along nicely. Harry Grant, 44 points with the sim bin, loses a bit of cash. He hasn't quite worked out, and I think if you haven't got him in yet, it's probably not the time to look at him until after Origin anymore. But not much else doing there. Do you want to kick it off with today's game? Oh, actually, Farlongo, 35 points. He did get a line break. Doesn't change in price till next week, but I think with Farlongo, this is what he's going to be. He's going to have the big plays, but I actually don't think he's a super coach guy because he doesn't accumulate stats well enough to have enough. But that being said, he is in center wing, so he doesn't really need to be that upside guy.
At that price, he's a buy, and I had him penciled in this week. But after seeing it, I'm like, I don't think he's urgent. He's going to have those big games, and just because of the talent that the kid possesses, people will purchase him based off that. But I'm starting to think, I don't think the trade is worth it. I've got to start being smarter with him, so I'm just going to fade him. I'd prefer for myself to go Armstrong over him now after seeing these back-to-back performances. But he's still going to get brought in if people need to make cash. But center wing, man, there's so many options. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
All right, I'll kick it off with the Roosters and the Warriors. Crazy start. Dom, Young, you legends. All of us on our panel except for Hads and Jake brought him in. Unlucky boys. Look like I didn't think he was going to break the record because I did think that he was going to slow down, but I'm pretty sure he got the quickest. That's got to be the quickest ton ever, right?
He was on 100 after 9 minutes 40. 100.
Yeah, it's got to. Don't quote us here, but that has to be the record. I don't think. Come on, it's going to be the record.
I don't know, but I was feeling good, and I was just thinking if I didn't own him right now, how would I be feeling? Because usually when a player is on a bit higher than I expect them to be at a certain time, I get a bit stressed. Like if by halftime a player I'm death riding is on 60 points already, I'm like, shit. But for him to be on 108 points within 10 minutes for a non-owner, I think you've got off pretty lucky for him to only be on 148 points by the end of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And he got brought in by 18,000 people, but he's only at 3% ownership. So realistically, he's not as high as you think. He still sits under 20% ownership. I think just rough maths, I reckon he's sitting between 15 to 17% currently. But which is, there you go. But apart from that, the reason you bring him in is his ceiling, and he's going to have these low-scoring games, but especially with these runs, I saw him absolutely tearing at edge. It's why I chose to go with him. And now, with that -4 break-even, he is going to cost he's going to have a very, very big payday. That's almost 150K, right? He's going to go straight to 700K.
So 80, 120. Yeah,
because it says projected there is 46 for 50. So, he's going to go just about 145-ish.
Yeah, no, I think it's like 85K every 100 points. So, yeah, just a bit below that. So like 135K goes to nearly 700K now, which is
And he
like
covers 2 buy rounds.
the price he is at right now it's a steal.
Yeah, it's 100% why I made the move and why I was always going to make the move. Let's go down to a guy that continually stabs my heart. Angus Crichton. I know you're going to think that I'm a noob for not owning Angus Crichton. I couldn't make it happen that week. If you've been following my journey 2 years ago, I also faded him and he absolutely made me regret it. I always get burned by Angus Crichton, the only guy on our podcast that doesn't own him. And I'm happy with 96 because he scored 2 tries that didn't come from line break. So that could be another 125 plus. But ouch, it hurts not owning him. But I guess the only positive thing for us small known owners is he should get picked in Origin with how good he's playing. And then they have a buy in round 14. So those 2 rounds, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but he uploaded a photo of his toes and they look broken. Like there's a massive bruise on his middle 2 toes. So there's a good chance if he is under an injury cloud that they've got back row forward depth. Like he could get rested. I don't know if Robbo's going to rest him at this time of year, knowing that he needs to put his best foot forward for Origin. But I don't know. Like, have a look at his Instagram. There's a photo of him and his toes. I'll actually get him up right now while you keep going through the scores. But yeah, Angus Crichton. Jesus Christ, I'm so lucky that I brought him in last week.
Yeah, you got the Midas touch, mate. Everything you do would turn into gold. I should have done it.
Oh,
pride stopped me.
Can I also just say, the last 3 weeks, every player I've traded in the last 3 weeks have gone 150 plus. I traded in Ruben Garrick for 145. Then I traded in Angus Crichton the week after, and then I traded in Dom Young this week for 148 points. So
let us know who you go next week, Sab. Hit me up. Get him burden for me. All right, let's go to Joey Manu. So Swift day here. I have Manu, and I don't think I need Dom Young. Yeah, you're probably right, but you could own both and be even happier, like myself. But yeah, look, it's hard to bring him in now. Like, I totally agree, it's hard to bring him now. But you definitely want a piece of the pie in that Roosters center wing. 100% agree. Let's quickly switch back to Crichton. Oh,
yeah,
that's got to be broken, right? Look at the color of that.
Yeah, and
Physio
like that,
reported anything? Nah.
Oh, don't know yet.
I'll have a look. Well,
I haven't had a look, but that's pretty bad. That was straight after the game, so that's only going to swell up a bit more. So yeah, I think there's been a bit of carnage this week. We could be waiting for some more. If you are listening on the audio, have a look at his Instagram. I don't know if it'll be up there when you listen to this, but or maybe come over to our Instagram and or YouTube and have a look. But yeah, it looks pretty nasty. Yeah.
Either way, but he's made a shit ton of money, so it doesn't really matter. Hopefully, I'm hoping for my sake it's not long term because then everyone jumps off and then I'm behind.
Yeah, and he goes up 125K again, so he goes up to 840K. Probably have another negative break even once again.
Starting at that price is a rookie error not getting him in, knowing what he could do, but ouch.
Yeah,
I guess
it's hard to tell though because like he did not look good last season and. Like the sample size you needed to get to confirm he was back. A lot of people only need 1 week, but I think realistically you need 3 or 4 weeks to have a good sample size, whether they're back or not. And you've kind of got to take the dive before that. So like I didn't jump on him straight away. I could have gone Fini Fuaki to him for the same price at one point, but I didn't do it because I was like, oh no, I'll save a trade this week.
Yeah, 100%.
We're glad I saved the trade and still got him in, but Jesus Christ.
But yeah, let's go back to Joey Manu, 814K. He's not slowing down at all. A lot of people were worried about his draw, but he hasn't scored under 60 since round 2. He's been absolutely killing it. I brought him in for round 5 when he went 108, and he's gone 108, 117, 68, 87. Actually, I think I brought him in for the Bunnies game for 84. I think I've owned him for quite a while, but
Mm.
You might think to yourself, is it too much to bring him in? No, because let's just say, like, I know we don't know about this whole Tedesco and Edwards debate, but if Tedesco does get picked, Joey Manu at fullback is going to be very hard not to own. In round 13, they are playing the Cowboys, who obviously will be down some troops to Origin 2. At the moment, it doesn't matter that Manu's not playing fullback. He's killing it in the centers. And today, like, you know, he got a lot of try contributions. He was in everything. Like, he was even switching to the other side of the field. He was awesome.
You don't even need him to play fullback anymore because he's in the middle of the field all the time. I think they've worked out what the perfect kind of mix for all these players are. Like Kiri sat back, Sam Walker was dominant, and Manu was in and out of the field.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot to cover with the Roosters. Sam Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll get to teammate. Let's stay up the top. Sam Walker, 92. He had a very low break even, so happy for owners there. Obviously, that 170 comes out minus 36. He will make maybe 110K.
Yeah,
I think that's close, which would see him sit at 680K. He's a bit like a yo-yo. Like, he did a lot today, and that try did bump his score up. He probably is the best option if you do for like your Cleary and Johnsons. If you want somebody to cover the first 2 buy rounds, I think he's your best option if you can cover him in 14, as he's not going to get picked in Origin. If I knew Matt Burton wasn't, then maybe the call's a little bit closer. But as I said, I own 3 Roosters. I don't want a 4th. They are absolutely killing it, and I could see why you wouldn't own Sam Walker. I did own Sam Walker and got burnt by him at the start of the year. So they are playing absolutely awesome footy, and we've already said, like, you know, their run is mixed. They got the Sharks, don't they, in Magic Round? Yeah, they play the Sharks.
But then they got the Raiders in round
Canberra. 12. Yeah, and then the bye round, they play the Cowboys. Then they have their bye, and then they go Para, Bulldogs, Tigers, Dragons. Their run is very, very good, actually, now that we look at that, apart from the Sharks. That is a juicy draw. So the option, if you can navigate through 14, because you're going to have to look at your Raiders and Dolphins. I don't know if I can do it, but yeah, he could be good coverage for that. Tedesco, 74, handy pod pickup. If you jumped on, obviously he comes with his wrist as well. Don't know what's going to happen with Origin, as I believe he will get picked.
Shout out to Musti in our premium chat. He went Tedesco over Drinkwater this week, and I questioned him. I was like, "Are you sure Drinkwater's going to score more this week?" And he's like, "Nope, I'm doing it this week." And he didn't even captain Tedesco. He captained Manu, so made some good moves this week. He's coming 8th, so
it just shows that sometimes, I think, you know, a lot of us like stick to the, you know, usual captain picks, but sometimes like playing outside the box is working at the moment. So
especially this week was so open for captains.
Perfect week, yeah. I feel like the same's going to be on the platter for Magic Round next week.
Oh yeah,
you've got to think of who is the Magic going to go to next week, but we'll cover that at the end of this. We'll have a bit of a Magic Round pre-up. Yeah, apart from that, let's slam through some of the other options. There's a lot of options at the Roosters. Connor Watson with a nice 66, but yeah, that's who I was going to talk about. Terrell May, Tour Pro there. Team A, minutes a worry. I'm happy with the 45. Scored the big thing. His price is looking all right. I don't think he's a sell this week. I know that 100's going to hop out of his break even real soon, but he plays those first 2 buy rounds, and Lindsay Collins is going to be out for Origin, we assume. Like, look at all those other guys you mentioned that trade outs. How can we be looking at trading Terrell May out? Like, can you, Savs?
Terrell May played 38 minutes today. I'm very happy with that. And over the Origin period, Lindsay Collins will be gone. Connor Watson's also a shout to play Origin potentially. So I think with all these players potentially going out, he is not a sell. 38 minutes I'm very happy with. He will update to probably just a bit over 50. So I guess we see how that goes. I'm pretty happy to own. Like, front row is not a high upside position. If you've got a front rower playing 40 minutes with an upside like Terrell May, I think he's a perfect hold.
Yeah, I think so too. After round 15, after you get your first 2 buys, 15, then reassess, and maybe that's when you can look to upgrade him.
45 with 4 uploads.
Yeah, there you go. Probably update to over 50. Over to the Warriors. AFB, I know you're our owner, Sabs. He's going to be someone I'm definitely going to want to own come 14. 89, obviously scored a try in the end there. And it comes up against the Panthers next week. So,
Scored a try against Panthers last year at Magic Round as well. I think he scored 2, actually.
When Moses and Fisher are off, we look weak in the middle sometimes. I definitely can see him crashing over the line. So, yeah, good purchase and, great for owners.
Yeah, he was not a priority for me, but after I had a week where Jensen scored me like 30 points, I needed to fix that spot, and I'm so glad I did, because he's just safety. Like, to have a guy like that who has upside in front row, and that's why I like Terrell May as well, because I think front row isn't typically upside, and these guys have the upside. So I think these are perfect guys to have.
Yeah, you got to have front, and you can add a Hazelton into that mix too. Front rowers that can score a try.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's CNK, another one that got saved by a try. 70. I know a lot of people jumped off. It's really hard to get around the Warriors at the minute with their form slump. But yeah, sorry, go Sabs.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I traded CNK to Drinky this week, and after the Tommy injury came out, there was thoughts of me keeping CNK and then going Tommy to Drinky next week. And I think that would have been a good move this week, but I probably would have ended up captaining Val. Probably wouldn't have been as good, but it's probably not going to want CNK over the next couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah, the run is a bit tougher. And until we see a bit of a Warriors comeback, will they? We aren't sure, but obviously if we do, I guess the big note here is SJ did get injured, did not complete the game. How much? I can't see my list. How much did he score? 34.
He scored 34. Yeah, so
break even at 96, going to start to come down in price pretty significantly.
So he misses by 60. He loses about 50K. So it's not too bad. It's like 710. I think with SJ, he scored a try today too, but they bloody disallowed it. He was looking good, but I think he's out for a while. I reckon he's out for a while.
Someone just Google him. Who did you captain, Sabs? We both captained Drinky.
Drinkinator.
Let's go to maybe just one last one. DWZ is someone that you have to keep your eyes on. 116 break even, scored 22 today. He's going to be low 500s when it comes to round 14. If I believe Webster can turn around and if you do believe they're going to pick it up, it's going to be very hard to turn him down at 500-ish K when he gets down to that price, knowing that he's someone that can end up at 800K. I know a couple of guys in our play like Hads and I think like Jake jumped on, and they'd be very disappointed with how he's gone. But, once that draw does get a bit better, it is a very mixed draw looking at it here, but they do play the round 6. They only cover one bye round. I'd be tempted. Yeah. Storm.
I think for the run home, it's okay. Like from round 20, like maybe these 3 teams in Canberra, Tigers, Parramatta, maybe Dolphins even. Maybe
it's too late. Yeah. You need to get him while his price is good. You just got to think, is he going to have a bounce back? If he's going to have a bounce back, jump on while he's in the 500.
I think with Johnson gone, that right edge is going to suffer.
Yeah, obviously that depends on Johnson's fitness. All right, over to the last game of the round. Savs, finish this off.
All right, so this was obviously I think this was the game I was banking on all day because I have a lot of players in this game. Like you see there's 3 players from my team and another one there. But the Titans came out and performed. Fafita 94 points. He's 860K and he goes up another 35K. So he goes to 900K. Not someone I'm going to look at until after Origin, potentially. Brimson scored a try again for 70 points. He goes up another 55K to 730K, but he went off with a groin injury. Looks like he's out for a couple of weeks too, potentially. So that's a blow for owners. Cleese Haas, 60 points, 390K. Makes a bit of money there. Not much else doing here, SuperCoach wise. Philip Sammy goes off for 10 points. So I'm sure he's going to be one we look at in a couple of weeks. I'm always very keen on a bit of Philip Sammy at some point.
I got him in last year and he did good. You got me onto him and I was happy owner.
Yep. Actually, Bo Fermor, I had a lot of questions about last reserves this week, and I said everyone, I thought today Bo Fermor was going to score. He didn't score, but he still scored pretty well, 68 points.
He's been doing pretty well. Like, I think he's a pretty safe playing 17s if I owned him, and it's not a bad shout. Like, he's going to be handy when you get a buy in out of him.
I would be very happy if I was an owner. Nanai top scores for the Cowboys with 77 points with a double. He makes quite a bit of money. Goes back up to about 700K, probably plays Origin, but he would have been a nice little trade-in option a couple of weeks ago.
You did bring that up, Savs, on the podcast, saying that you really liked him.
Yeah, so 480K he was in round 7, and then he's gone on to score 104, 89, and 77. Probably updates a bit. So maybe Chad Townsend could be the guy for the replacements for Sean Johnson and Nathan Cleary. 450, 2 try assists for 68 points.
I don't care if he scores a ton next week. I would never own Chad Townsend. I don't think I can. Sorry, bro. I can't do it.
Ruben Cotter just seems to be building into his season. Yeah, I think I was just
disallowed try.
Yeah, disallowed try. He's just been accumulating all season, which is good. But the big guys, Valentine Holmes, 58 points. He was highly captained, and Scott Drinkwater, 49 points. Very disappointing from them too, but I don't know. I think we do see a bounce back because they both did look pretty likely. Valentine Holmes, that try, I don't know if you saw it, but he bombed a try.
Yeah, but like you got to give it to the Titans there. The Cowboys had so many opportunities to score, and they just pulled like a rabbit out of the hat each time. But like you said, both these guys look so like they were trying their best, and they looked so likely. And we know what Drinky can do. Obviously, both back jumping on the Drinky train, and we're doing it because their draw's not too bad. And he's the kind of guy that's going to get some, magic round spirit. To me, that doesn't seem as potty, but it'll be hard to go past him against the Bunnies next week, where the last time he played him, he scored 140 points. They go Bunnies, Tigers, Roosters in the bye round, Warriors, Raiders, and then they have a bye in 16. To be honest with you, I do see myself flipping Drinky maybe when it comes to the round 16 bye, because they obviously missed a 16-19 bye. I might want to look to get like a Latrell potentially, but their draw is pretty good there, but they're looking so up and down. Their defense is so poor. The Cowboys are a yo-yo at the moment. Very hard to predict, which makes it tough for SuperCoach.
It is. Tom Dearden, 21 points. I know a lot of people who looked at getting him in. He looks like a pretty good option coming up. I actually don't mind him coming up, but with the Cowboys, I think they've got a few issues with their defense at the moment. So they could struggle, especially like who knows what team the Rabbitohs come out next week. So Lukey, 38 points. He didn't quite play a lot of minutes, but he will lose 50K again. So he goes down to 380. So he becomes an option once again. I think with the injury history, I'm very standoffish on him. But Fini Furiaki, he actually makes money. He makes $8,000, goes up to 458,000. But that 85 against Penrith will roll out of his average. He will be a starting second rower for round 13 for the bye period with Nano potentially out. I don't know. I think he does update a bit. I'm very happy that he played 40 minutes today and scored 29, because that's really what he scores in 80 minutes without any attacking stats. So I'm very happy. But he actually looked really good when he come on. So he's got it in him. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe it's just not a play and you just hold him till round 13, because that makes sense.
It's hard, but having him and Kai Pearce-Paul is a headache, and I didn't think of selling him until you said it. It just depends on the options, because you're right. Like, can you risk losing some money, hold for 2 weeks, and then round 13 you get a score, but after that he's got to go? And what if you do that, he doesn't score as good as you think? Then this is probably the highest I see him priced
for sure.
But it's a tough one. I guess we've got to wait till teams. It's a headache. I don't know what to do with him either. I think I'd rather save the trade and I'll just hold on. But
I guess I'm going to have to look at his break even next week. And I think this is a perfect example of us just needing to sit back, have Monday off, and then wait till team list. Just just let team list do the talking.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. So
that's it for the wrap up. We've got a couple of questions I guess we can answer. Is Valicel coming into Origin?
Where the Cowboys are ranked, I don't think they'll be resting him. I would hold him. I'm not an owner, but there are some center wings that I would hold through the Origin period because you're going to want to end on them. And I hate, if you're low on trades, selling him to bring him back. So sell him and don't get him back, which you're not going to do. So I would hold.
Well, they've had a pretty good draw, and then
their run's great. We just mentioned the run
period round 17. Yeah, their draw is very good.
It's good for the rest of the season. It's pretty good. Have a look at that draw. Like that draw is very good for the rest of the season. Like, you got some tougher matchups, but everyone's got tougher matchups.
Yeah, the draw is very good. Cool.
I guess, just to end off is shout out. We've got 217 viewers in here. It's the highest we've had on a Sunday wrap up. Don't forget to tune in with Savs and Timmy on our Tuesday TLT podcast, and then the On the Burst on Wednesday. But the big thing is Magic Round is coming up. We hope to see as many of you guys there.
Yeah.
Hot take. Savs and I are going to our first Magic Round. We're actually going separately. I'm sure, of course, we're going to meet up with each other. We're good mates. We'll see each other there. But we are separately. And Timmy's going to be there. And Timmy's going to be there separately. And you might not know Grant's face too well from our podcast. If you're in the premium, he is our go-to guy. He puts in so much effort into that group. He's also going to be there. So if you bump into any of us, say hey. And there's a good chance that you're going to, at the field, you'll see me, Timmy, and Savs actually split up. So good, bump into us. Please come say hey. We're going to be at the Caxton a lot, especially I plan to be at the Caxton on the Friday. So please come say hi. It'd be good. I'm keen to talk and meet a lot of super coaches. So are you excited, Savs? I'm keen. I'm so keen.
I'm so excited. It's your first one as well?
Yeah. We're losing our Magic Round virginity together. It's the Festival of Footy. I'm so excited. I didn't go last year because I obviously was going to Europe, but I said I was 100% going this year, and I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, there was no way I was missing out this year. So we're driving up on Friday morning. So we'll be there around hopefully before 12 o'clock. And then I think I'll probably try and get to the Caxton as early as possible. It's a festival for footy with the lads.
Yeah.
Like how it's going to be the best thing ever. Maybe we will plan on meeting up. I'm not going to plan any sort of meetup because I don't know what I reckon.
It's going to be hard, but I reckon our best bet will be the start of the first day. So I know like the playbook and that are going to be at the Caxton at 3. I reckon, honestly, your best bet, if you're there for the whole weekend, come to the Caxton before on the Friday. I'm 100% going to the Caxton around 2, 3 o'clock. Yep. I know, Savs, you'll try to. That'll be the best bet. We're going to be as fresh as possible then. That's your best bet to come and chat with us. But obviously, just shoot us a message and stuff like that. And just a shout out to Jake Baldry from the premium group. Get on the experience chat. Best $10 you ever sent. Thanks for the G up and get on. I don't know if we're taking any more Savs, but I don't know if you want to do a plug. But
I guess if someone messages, we'll see because I just didn't want to flood the chat. I'm sure the people that have wanted to join for a while have joined. So if you still want to, you can message us. We'll see how we are for numbers. But Jack, Caxton 3 o'clock Friday, you reckon? Yes, that's confirmed. 3 o'clock Friday at the Caxton.
We'll definitely be there by 3. I'm going to be there. I'll be there with some of my mates. And if you see a guy that looks like me and you think it's me, it's fine. Just talk to him. He's my brother. He'll point you off to me.
It probably is Morgan Harper or a Nari Tuala,
though. or one of them. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in and get excited for Magic Round. Big TLT coming up as there are a lot of injuries going around. Get pumped. Catch us later.